When I was little, I was taught that mosquito eaters, aka mayfly, ate mosquitoes. And I believed it, and I believed it for years and years, and I taught that to other children too. Oh no, that's a nice bug. We want the mosquito eater. He eats the mosquitoes, he'll protect us. We should have lots of those around. Mayflies are good for you, they're mosquito eaters. I was probably in my 30s before I got a little bit more curious about the mayfly and looked it up. It does not eat mosquitoes. It is not in the same food chain at all. Not only had I been believing that lie my entire life, I had been teaching it to other people. So when you start thinking about some of the ways that you beat yourself up with PTSD or with the flashbacks, or when you're going through that internal, I need to be better, I need to be stronger, I need to just think happy thoughts, I need to change the channel in my head. These are all things that we're told. You know, if you could just block it out, just focus it, just, forget about it, get over it, pretend like it didn't happen. There's a lot of things that we're told when we're trying to overcome traumas, and a lot of these things are lies. So we need to start looking stuff up, and we need to start checking our facts. And I think when you start going through some of the systems and the things that you've been telling yourself you're a failure in, you might find that you've actually had quite a few successes. They're just not running in that same belief system that you had. So in defining words, we need to make sure that we're using words properly. That's it, Princess Bride. You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means. And there's a lot of words we use that actually, that's not what they mean at all. So flashbacks, triggers, a lot of times we're told that if we were stronger, or we need to be strong enough to block them out. And that's actually not the right use of that word. To be stronger means to be able to handle something, to be able to overcome it, or to be able to take it on. So when we're trying to push back and push away bad memories, we are not actually being stronger than them. We're being like a little kid playing hide and go seek, and we're covering our eyes and trying to pretend like it didn't exist. It does exist. All the evil and all of the bad and the things that you've experienced and the traumas that you've gone through, they are things that happened. For you to be strong enough to handle them means that you're handling them. Every time you try to block it out or change the channel in your head, or you're not actually being strong and overcoming it, you're shoving it in a closet. You're just closing your eyes. So, PTSD is contagious, though. The best way to overcome the traumas is to be able to talk about them and to get the ugly out. And I know I sound like a broken record with this, but when we can talk about them, we take away their power. Is it Voldemort, right, in the Harry Potter? Don't say his name, because there's that belief system that if we just ignore something, it'll go away. But Voldemort didn't go away until people started using his name. I'm using some movie references here. I hope you get that. So when you start having the strength to be able to address rape, molestation, child abuse, domestic violence, the injustice system, when you start having the strength to be able to stand up and say, this happened, that's when you start overcoming those traumas. But check your words. How are you defining things? When you say that you just need, is it a need, or is it something to just make things easier at the moment? Because a lot of times people are given what they want, and it turns out now they have a whole new issue. So start checking those things. Mosquito eaters don't eat mosquitoes. Strength is not ignoring a problem. Let's see, girls are just as smart as boys. That was a big one that I learned. Because I've met a lot of really smart women, and I've met a lot of really stupid men. Now, I've met some smart men too. I'm not saying all of them are stupid, but that is not a gender issue. That's who spent some time studying and learning and looking things up. And when you are trying to overcome something, look it up. Look it up. The other is that's just you. You're crazy. You know? No. Men are molested and raped too, and they lose their marbles too. It's pretty normal. Hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, plane wrecks, train wrecks. COVID took out a lot of people, the EMTs and the firefighters, medics. A lot of them have PTSD as well. When you're experiencing a trauma and you don't have the opportunity to release that, and you're just trying to shove it into your brain and hide it, your brain's bringing it back out again. So start looking at PTSD numbers. Start looking up how many people have flashbacks, and you'll stop feeling alone, and you'll realize that there are other people that you can talk to. So PTSD is contagious. A lot of the people that tell us that they don't want to hear it, or why aren't we over that, they cannot handle hearing that bad things happened to someone else. Put it in the same scope of like watching a scary movie. Some people don't watch scary movies because it gives them nightmares. In a lot of cases, that's what happens with PTSD. People silence you because they are not strong enough to hear about the injustices. People turn off the news because they don't want to see how the earthquake just destroyed some other land, or they don't want to hear about the war in Ukraine, or they don't want to hear about children being raped because they are not strong enough to handle the trauma that is happening to other people. And then when they do see a movie, or they do see a special, or somebody does bring it to their attention, they just want to close their eyes. Because it's too real. And then you have to start dealing with stuff. And that's just too much work for them. And then they join in the group of people in nightmares, hopefully coming here to talk about it. So there is another word, controversial word, that I hear people talk about, and I'm like, I think you need to look that up. I think you need to look that up. Again, I'm an American, so this is kind of an American issue, although I heard it's turning kind of global. I did write these down. So, woke is defined by Webster as aware of and actively attentive to important social facts and issues. Sorry, it's all old computer. I don't want to do a retake on this, so I'm just going to put on my glasses and keep reading, okay? Cambridge defines it as aware especially of social problems such as racism and equality. Now, there was just a news clip on TV, and DeSantis, the one I think who uses the word woke the most, anti-woke. We need to fight this woke. We need to get rid of this woke. His attorney, Ryan Newman, defined woke in general means belief there are systematic injustices in American society and the need to address them. So if you're wondering about wokeness, and if you think that America is going to be better if we fight this awareness of social injustices, and if we fight the systemic problems, that's what will make America better, is if we don't address these issues, what you're really showing signs of is weakness. It's not strength to ignore problems. That's weakness. That's saying that you're not capable of handling other people having problems. So a lot of the trauma, it's not all of them, right? Fires aren't caused from systemic racism or sexism or Being poor is really, really expensive. It's very traumatic and it's very expensive. That's a societal issue that we need to start looking at what makes people poor and why do we condemn them. So I am going to thank Ron DeSantis and I'm going to thank Trump because the truth is that it has been generations and years that these injustices have been allowed to stay and there's been very little push against them. But now they've brought it out full center. In their anti-woke and Make America Great Again, they are pointing out that America had slavery and systematically, still, it's really strong in our justice system where they target people in the minorities, people of color. So what they did was they turned them from a slave, like from ownership to a slave through the justice system by creating laws specifically designed to arrest them. So thank you, DeSantis, and thank you, Trump, for making sure that all of America is now aware of these issues. And PTSD.online is going to be open to everyone because I think now that some things are coming out in the open, there's going to be a lot of people with trauma. So we can start addressing that. Again, the Supreme Court, they're ruling that women were not people, that people that have alternative lifestyles can be discriminated against because they're not your straight, white, rich man. Thank you. Thank you for that ruling. Because now that you have brought it up to America's attention, that there is systemic racism and there is systemic classes of people, and you want to make sure only the one class has full constitutional rights, America can start addressing those issues. So, anyways, question what you believe and why you're believing it. If you are on the anti-woke fight, how are you defining woke? Are you saying that the injustice isn't there? Or are you saying you don't want to address it? So, question what you believe, look things up, start dealing with the ugly, and move forward. So, anyways, that's kind of how I got over a lot of stuff.